Have you ever felt like time was a river, constantly flowing, and you were just standing on the bank watching it all rush by? That's how I felt until I met Joseph. He wasn't my grandfather by blood, but he became my grandfather in spirit. I was a restless young man, always chasing the next big thing, the next promotion, the next adventure. I never stopped to appreciate the quiet moments, the simple joys. I was too busy planning my ascent to some imaginary peak. I met Joseph volunteering at the local historical society. He was their oldest member, a wiry man with twinkling blue eyes and hands gnarled like the roots of an ancient oak. He carried the weight of his years not as a burden,
but as a badge of honor. He walked with a cane,
but his mind was sharp as a tack. He was the society's resident storyteller, and he could spin a yarn about the town's founding that would keep you wrapped for hours. Initially, I thought I was doing him a favor, helping him organize the archives, deciphering old letters, and inputting data into the computer. But soon I realized he was the one teaching me. He wasn't just telling me about the town's history. He was showing me how to live. He had a way of seeing through me, of knowing what I was thinking before I even spoke the words. One afternoon, I was complaining about my job, how tedious it was, how my talents were being wasted. When I was done, he simply said, "Everything has its time, Daniel. The seeds you plant today may not blossom until tomorrow, or perhaps not until the next generation. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't plant them." His words struck a chord within me. I realized I had been so focused on the future that I was missing the present. I was so caught up in the pursuit of success that I was neglecting the simple act of living. Joseph took me under his wing. We spent hours poring over old photographs, reading letters from soldiers during the Civil War, and tracing the genealogies of the town's founding families. He told me stories about his own life, about his triumphs and his mistakes, his loves and his losses. He spoke of the Great Depression, of the sacrifices his parents made, of the resilience of the human spirit.
He showed me that life wasn't always easy,
but it was always worth living. He taught me the importance of patience, how to cultivate a garden, how to whittle wood, how to listen to the wind. He showed me the beauty in the mundane, the magic in the ordinary. He taught me to appreciate the sun on my skin, the taste of fresh baked bread, the sound of laughter. One day I found Joseph sitting alone in the archives, staring at a faded photograph. It was a picture of a young woman dressed in a flapper dress, her hair bobbed short, her eyes full of life. "That's my Clara," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "We were going to get married right after the war, but he never came home." I sat beside him, offering my silent sympathy. I had never seen Joseph so vulnerable, so raw. "It's been almost 70 years, he said, his voice barely a whisper. "And still, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of her." "Do you ever regret not moving on, Joseph, not finding someone else?" I asked cautiously. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a lifetime of memories. "Regret? No. I loved Clara, even after all."
These years, that love is still a part of who I am. It shaped me, defined me.
To forget her would be to forget a part of myself. His words resonated deeply within me. I realized that love wasn't something you simply discard or replace. It was a part of your history, a part of your soul. It stayed with you, shaping your present and influencing your future. As the weeks turned into months, Joseph's health began to decline. He was getting weaker. His steps were slower, his breath shorter, but his spirit remained strong. His eyes still twinkled, his voice still held that familiar warmth. One afternoon, I found him sitting in his armchair, surrounded by his books. He was rereading Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman, one of his favorite poets. "Daniel," he said, his voice raspy, "come sit with me." I sat beside him, taking his frail hand in mine. "I don't have much time left," he said, his eyes gazing out the window. "But I hope I've taught you something, shown you something." "You've taught me everything, Joseph," I said, my voice choked with emotion. "You've taught me how to live." He smiled, a gentle, peaceful smile. "Don't be afraid to feel, Daniel, to love, to lose. That's what makes us human. And don't forget the past. It's our anchor, our guide.
It reminds us who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. He paused, taking a shallow breath. And always remember,
Clara, he continued, his voice barely audible. Her favorite flower was a sunflower. Plant some for me, will you? I nodded, tears streaming down my face. Joseph closed his eyes, a peaceful expression on his face. He took one last breath and then he was gone. The world felt a little dimmer without Joseph in it. I missed his stories, his wisdom, his gentle presence.
but I knew that he was.
Still with me in my heart, in my memories, and the lessons he had taught me. I did as he asked. I planted sunflowers in my garden, in his memory. They grew tall and strong, their golden faces turned towards the sun. Every time I looked at them, I thought of Joseph, of his love for Clara, of his wisdom, of his unwavering spirit. One day I was walking to the town cemetery, paying my respects to Joseph. I stopped at Clara's grave, a simple stone marker with her name and date etched into the stone. I placed a sunflower on her grave, a symbol of Joseph's enduring love. As I stood there, I noticed a young woman kneeling beside another grave. She was weeping softly, her shoulders shaking.
I hesitated for a moment, unsure whether to intrude.
But then I remembered Joseph's words, "Don't be afraid to feel, Daniel, to love, to lose. That's what makes us human." I walked over to her and gently placed my hand on her shoulder. "Are you okay?" I asked softly. She looked up, her eyes red and swollen. "My grandmother just passed away," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "She was my best friend." I sat down beside her, offering my silent comfort. "It's hard," I said, "losing someone you love."
But they're never really gone, you know.
They live on in our memories, in our hearts, in the lessons they taught us. I told her about Joseph, about his love for Clara, about his wisdom, about the sunflowers. I told her how he had taught me to appreciate the simple joys, to be patient, to be kind, to be grateful. As I spoke, I realized that Joseph's legacy wasn't just about the past. It was about the present and the future. It was about the ripple effect of kindness, of love, of wisdom. It was about how one person could touch so many lives even after they were gone. I saw that wisdom wasn't just something to be gained, but something to be passed down. The young woman listened intently, her tears slowly drying. When I was finished, she smiled, a small, grateful smile. "Thank you," she said. "That helped more than you know." As I walked away, I felt a sense of peace, a sense of purpose. I knew that Joseph was smiling down on me, proud of the seeds he had planted, proud of the blossoms that were beginning to bloom. I went back to work and became the best employee I could be. I wasn't trying to rush the process or climb the corporate ladder quickly. I just resolved to doing excellent work every day.
In time, I became a leader, not because I yearned for the title,
but because I embodied Joseph's wisdom and the values of patience and understanding. Have you ever wondered what your legacy will be? It's not about the things you accomplish, the money you make, or the fame you achieve. It's about the people you touch, the lives you change, the love you leave behind. It's about finding your Joseph. It's about planting your own garden of sunflowers, one seed at a time. Because sometimes the greatest lessons come from the most unexpected places, from the most unexpected people. And sometimes the greatest treasures are not found in the pursuit of success, but in the embrace of simplicity, in the appreciation of the present moment, in the love that endures. What will you do with the time you have left?